Animas Forks looks calm and peaceful today, which is hilarious when you learn this place once had 3 mills, avalanches, crowding, nonstop noise, and miners who apparently loved bathrooms so much they built indoor outhouses and a 2-seater. Also, when we got here, it was full of Jeeps and old Broncos, so the chaos lives on. Let's dig into the ghost town that refuses to act like one. Pulling into Animas Forks on a holiday weekend feels like rush hour at 11,000 feet. But that's always been the story here. Every road and river drainage meets in this one little spot. And that's how it got its name. We're here at Animas Forks. This is a busy place in the San Juans. And it was originally called Three Forks because you've got California Gulch, you've got Engineer Pass, and you've got Cinnamon Pass that comes in here. And then the railroad later came in from Silverton. So it was originally called Three Forks of the Animas. Then it was called Three Forks, and then they decided on Animas Forks, which makes sense. It is one of the most extensive ghost towns in the San Juan that is left. We will give you a tour of it today. This was a 3-story boarding house that was built in 1906 for the Gold Prince Mill, which we'll visit next, but this was the boarding house for that. Unfortunately, by 1911, the company Gold Prince Mill was bankrupt, so this fell into ruin, and this is all that's left. So this is the Gold Prince Mill. It was completed in 1904 when the Northern Silverton Railroad came in here. It was the last narrow gauge railroad built in the San Juans. And there's high hopes. It's a 7-story concrete building. It was a huge, massive building. High hopes to make lots of money from the ore, but it did not work out for them. And it was closed by like 1911. And so the boarding house was over there. This was here. And the Frisco mine, our mill up above, and the Columbus mill both stayed in business while this one went out. And it cost $500,000 to build this mill here on site in the early 1900s. They deconstructed the buildings and they took it down to Eureka, which is south of here. But this is what's left of the Gold Prince Mill. Pretty extensive building for sure. And the Gold Prince wasn't working alone. Just a short distance, the Columbus Mill added its own roar to the valley. We are at the Columbus Mill in Animas Forks, which was opened in 1880, and it ran all the way until 1948. And so it ran for 68 years, long after most everything else in this area had shut down and was gone. This mill was still pumping out ore, and the railroad still came up here to gather the ore. So something we thought about. So you had a 20-stamp mill for the Gold Prince mine. You had the Columbia mill that was there. I don't know how many stamps that was, but it was a big place. And then just up you had the Bagley mill with the Frisco mines going, all in like between 1905 and 1910. All of these mills are going in Animas Forks. Plus you have the tramway coming in from another valley.
That also has 2 mills.
Going over there in the next valley over. It must have been
Definitely
a nightmare to live there. The noise must have been. There were no animals around. There were no. It was. I can't even imagine all
They didn't
that.
have marmot. They didn't have to worry about marmots coming in and eating all their stuff.
No, they did not. No bears were around. Nobody wanted. I can't imagine living there. And what's interesting is, of all the stuff I've read about Animas Forks, nobody talks about that.
Yeah. One of the mills in Animas Forks running, that it would have been deafening to live there.
Yeah.
But just with one, let alone all of them.
All of them running. It just must have been a nightmare to live there. And I don't know, but I would assume they ran pretty much 24 hours a day. The noise must have been out of this world. Yeah. With the mills humming all around it, people here still had to live their everyday lives. So let's walk through what's left of the town and see where the miners ate, slept, worked, and occasionally got into trouble. This place is often called the Walsh House, but it was never actually owned by Walsh. It was built by William Duncan, a miner and the town's mail carrier, and it ended up being the biggest and best home in Animas Forks. So this is the original jail here in Animas Forks. It was constructed in 1882. It's by 2x6s laid on their side to keep the prisoners in, but also to keep the lynch mobs out. And so it has stood all these years, over 100 years, 140 years, and the roof is new. It was put on in the late 90s, and it mimics the original roof that was on it. The BLM and then had put a flat roof on it, which is not historically accurate, so they redid it and put this one on. And then the bars had been stolen, so they reconstructed the bars, and they reconstructed the door to match the building that's historically accurate door at that time too, when they refurbished it. And it's had a lot of vandalism over the year, but it's still here. And actually there's quite a few jailhouses still in the San Juans that are still standing because they were constructed so out of such tough materials to keep people in and to keep people out. So anyway, it's cool. Look at this door. Wow. Wow. And you can see there's still some of the square-headed nails. And evidently those are prized. People want to collect those and they rip them out. So that's some of the damage that was done. Oh yeah, look at how this lock was done. Oh, look at the roof. So they redid the roof to be historically accurate, and it's 6-inch thick, 2x6s. Old house, and it was lived in by school teachers and by miners and by families, and it was added on to over the years. And its most notable feature is that it has a 2-seater outhouse. So there you go. Okay, let's go in.
Take a shit with your friends.
Yeah.
What? You weren't baking it?
Okay, this is the 2-seater outhouse. There's one. And then here's the second one. Huh. And cardboard lining the roof for warmth. So this is the general store. Oh, look at that. That's a nice fireplace. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than you expect, isn't it? Blue walls. It seems to have more, like it has tar paper on the walls and stuff, where
Yeah.
that makes it a little disconcerting there.
Yeah.
But they've redone all of it, looks like, the roof.
Yeah, that's modern. There's modern.
Yeah.
stuff there.
To keep it stabilized, its structure. And matching windows in this one, which the other houses have all different windows. So this behind me is the Gustoson house. It was purchased for $1 by the Gustoson family, and their young son was born in a tent, and they said he was so small he could fit in a jar, and they would put him in the jar on the top of the stove to keep him warm as an incubator. He was so little. And this house is known for its indoor bathroom, the bathroom that was indoors. So evidently this town likes bathrooms. Let's talk about them, so let's go find it. Here we go. It's a pretty big house. And this was the kitchen, because the root cellar down here on the floor was used for storage, obviously, during the winter months. It was access to the kitchen. So this was their kitchen at one point. They had a stove. And then we go back here, another room. And Another room. And I like all the windows, basically whatever window you could get. Here. And then here's the indoor toilet. Indoor toilet options right here. The bathroom. Whoa. Floorboards are loose. I'm not sure I would want an outhouse completely attached, but it would be nice in the winter. Before we left town, I wandered over to the Flat-fender Jeep guys. I told them the last time I was in the San Juans, I was driving a 1973 Land Rover. So I only had one question. How's the vapor lock? They burst out laughing. Then they wanted to know what I was driving now. When I pointed to the Defender, they joked, "Don't you miss the old ones?" More laughing and more teasing. As they rolled out of town, each one gave us a wave. Turns out they didn't hold my new truck against me. And just as the flat fenders rolled out, a line of old Broncos rumbled in. San Juan classics. This town has always been a crossroads, and apparently that includes vintage 4x4 royalty. But if you want to see a place where the past is still sitting on the workbench, we're heading there next, the Sound Democrat Mill, one of the best preserved stamp mills in Colorado. We hope you enjoyed Animas Forks as much as we did and seeing the cool buildings that were there. We will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.